Minnesota Vikings were one of the NFC's best teams and one of the league's biggest surprises last season. After some massive changes in the offseason, the Vikings entered the 2025 season with the 10th best odds to win the Super Bowl. Today we will break down how the 2024 season went for Minnesota along with their key additions and losses on both sides of the ball to project how they will fare during the 2025 season. Into the 2024 season, the Vikings suffered a massive loss when their first-round quarterback J.J. McCarthy went down with a season-ending meniscus tear in training camp. This opened up the starting spot for Sam Darnold. Previously in his career, he had not done much to prove himself during his time with the New York Jets or Carolina Panthers, and spent his time with the San Francisco 49ers serving as a backup. As a result of this, many did not think that 2024 was going to be a successful season for the Vikings. However, they shocked the league and won their first 5 games of the year before heading into their bye week, taking down 2 playoff teams in the Houston Texans and the Green Bay Packers during this stretch. Following their bye week, they came back to earth a bit, suffering back-to-back losses to the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. But after these 2 losses, they went on a very impressive winning streak, this one being 9 games. They ended the regular season with another loss to the Lions, but a still very impressive 14-3 record, which earned them second place in the NFC North and the 5th seed in the playoffs. In the wild card round, they matched up against the Los Angeles Rams. The 2 teams met previously in the regular season in Week 8, where the Rams came out on top by a final score of 30-20. The Vikings came out of the gate slow, and at halftime they found themselves already facing a 24-3 deficit. While they did outscore Los Angeles in the second round, it was nowhere near enough for them to get out of the hole they dug for themselves in the first half, and they fell by a final score of 27-9. Despite falling in the wildcard round, this was still a very successful and promising season for Minnesota. They proved that even without the player who was slated to be their franchise quarterback, they were capable of being one of the best teams in the entire NFC. With Donald on the center, Minnesota's passing game did not miss a beat, with the team ranking 6th in passing yards and 5th in passing touchdowns of the year. Alexander Mattison had a solid season in the league, rushing for 1,138 yards and 5 touchdowns. But as a team, the Vikings fell a bit below the league average, 19th in rushing yards and 29th in rushing touchdowns. Minnesota's defense as a whole performed rather well on the year, allowing the 5th fewest points in the league. Again, the pass, they had their struggles ranking 20th in yards allowed, but in touchdowns allowed. They played much better against the run, allowing the 2nd fewest rushing yards and 7th fewest rushing touchdowns. Offseason, the Vikings front office made it a focal point to build up their offensive line for their young quarterback. There will be a lot for him to learn quickly if the Vikings want to replicate the success that they saw in the 2024 season. They snagged 2 former Indianapolis Colts offensive linemen with Will Fries at guard and Ryan Kelly at center, signing both to multi-year deals. Along with this, they used their first-round pick to select Donovan Jackson, an offensive lineman out of Ohio State, who should be able to make an immediate impact. It should come as no surprise that the Vikings chose to bring back Aaron Jones after a 1,000-yard season on the ground for him in 2024. However, while Minnesota was able to bring in a fair amount of talent while retaining many of their key pieces, former starting quarterback Sam Darnold signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Darnold had a career-reviving season in 2024, and many speculated that the Vikings were going to keep him around for the long term after the success that he had with the team. While the Vikings already had a plethora of weapons at the wide receiver and tight end positions, they added additional depth to both positions, picking Ty Felton, wide receiver out of Maryland, in the 3rd round, and Gavin Bartholomew, a tight end from Pittsburgh, in the 6th round. While T.J. Hockenson will likely continue to hold down the starting tight end position through the year, barring any injuries, there is a strong chance that Felton could get an opportunity to prove himself early on in the season as the Vikings wide receiver 2. Jordan Addison will be serving a 3-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The success of the offense this season will likely come down to the level of play that they get out on McCarthy. The organization has stuck with him and continues to have faith in their former 10th overall pick even after an injury that took his entire rookie season from him. He has a vast array of weapons around him heading into the 2025 season, and if he is able to live up to the expectations that come with being a top 10 pick, this could be another great season for the Vikings offense. Side of the ball, the Vikings made some massive upgrades to the defensive tackle position, signing both Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen to multi-year deals. Along with this, they added some depth to the cornerback position with signing Isaiah Rodgers. Outside of that, most of their efforts in free agency on defense were used to retain the talent they had in 2024. Some notable re-signings were Byron Murphy Jr., who signed a 3-year deal, and Theo Jackson, who received a 2-year extension. In the draft, the Vikings did not prioritize making many upgrades to their defense, waiting until the 5th round to select their first defensive player, Tyron Ingram Dawkins, a defensive lineman from Georgia. With their next pick in the 6th round, they selected Kobe King, a linebacker from Penn State. Minnesota is around the middle of the league in terms of remaining cap space, currently having the 15th most cap space with $25,309,604 according to the Over the Cap. While there is a strong chance that they do not make any other big splashes in free agency before the season kicks off, we'll likely be in the market for some veteran talent as the season drags along and we get closer to the postseason. Schedule makers paired with them being in the NFC North did not do the Vikings any favors this season, with them having the 6th highest strength of schedule. Along with this, they will be forced to play 9 games against teams who made the playoffs in 2024, taking on the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers twice, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Chargers, Baltimore Ravens, and the Washington Commanders. The results of this uphill battle for the Vikings this season will likely fall on the shoulders of J.J. McCarthy. With him still not yet taking his first NFL snap, it makes it very difficult to predict how the year will play out for them. They have more than adequate weapons surrounding him at the running back, wide receiver, and tight end position. Along with this, the front office did their job in upgrading their offensive line heading into the season. Pairing this with a very talented defensive unit that they will enter the season with, and there is a strong chance that things could work out for the Vikings in 2025. However, with that being said, they have a very tough schedule in front of them, and they are in a gauntlet of the division. As a result of this, we project that the Vikings will either barely sneak into the postseason as a 6th or 7th seed, or they will barely miss the playoffs. Even if they fall short of getting into the playoffs, the Vikings are still a very young team at their core, and if they are able to put together a couple of strong draft classes in a row, there is a strong chance they could quickly turn into contenders. But in that same vein, if McCarthy comes out of the gates hot and proves that he was well worth being a top 10 pick, the Vikings have the talent necessary to once again compete with the Lions for the top seed in the NFC North.